Alberta couple chased off by a Peace River creature. An massive Sasquatch scolds adolescent Bigfoot. Featured on Mountain Beast Mysteries YouTube channel, episode 51. This photo purported to be Bigfoot was taken in the 1970s by a snowmobiler near the Fort McMurray area of Alberta, Canada. He was going down a cut, and this Sasquatch crossed the cut. The snowmobiler was able to snap 2 photos of the creature, and this 35mm photo is currently the only known photo to have survived since then. The owner brought it into a specialty framing and photo enlarging studio to have the photo enlarged and never returned to pick it up. Mountain Beast Mysteries plans on getting a high-resolution scan, and they will put it on their channel when it's available. The following Bigfoot sighting report, less than 200 miles from where the photo was taken, is from the BFRO website report number 17290. It happened on September 10, 1975, near the Peace River of Alberta, Canada. The anonymous woman reports. It was 1975, September, dusk, just starting to turn dark. I was 18. Drove to 12-Foot Davis, gravesite picnic grounds in the Peace River with a friend. We walked on the hillside behind the gravesite. No birds were chirping. Everything was silent. Hairs on my neck were standing up. I chose to go outside toilet facilities. My friend moved back to the car. When I got about 2 feet from the washroom door, I saw a shadow move, and I heard heavy breathing and could smell a musky stench. The toilet facilities were about 8 to 9 feet high. This thing was standing beside the toilet, and I estimate its height to be around 7.5 feet tall. I felt eerie and decided to forget the washroom trip. I started to walk away towards the gravesite. My friend yelled at me to get back to the car, as he had been looking in my direction. I turned and looked behind me and felt immediate terror. This thing wasn't a bear. It was on its front arms with its bum up in the air, pushing itself along in an ambling fashion, following behind me about 4 feet away, and appeared to be sniffing at me. It was light hair, darkish blondish color hair, looked not like a bear, had sparse hair on its body, more hair on legs and arms, ape-like face, little hair on the face, more on the head. Hair looked extremely coarse, almost like a horse's mane in the winter. I quickly ran to the car. We jumped in the car and sped away around a corner and down the hill. As we were speeding away, this thing rose up and tried to chase the car a short way. It was angry, standing straight, not like a bear, more like a human. It was swinging its arms and screaming. We barely got away from it. It followed us down the hillside a short way. When I come home, I was so upset that I told my mother. She in turn passed this information on, and someone went up there the next day and didn't see anything. They found tufts of hair, but that was it. It was nearly 30 years, and I still have the details of what I saw stuck in my head, and I imagine I always will. A person does not survive that kind of terror without remembering it for the rest of your life. My boyfriend also witnessed the creature and was standing by the car waiting for me. The time and conditions, it was dusk, just starting to turn dark, cool weather. It had rained earlier in the day. Very quiet, no birds chirping, very, very silent. The moon was starting to shine. The environment was foresty, pine, evergreen, short bushes, hills, grassy hillside. There was a follow-up investigation report by BFRO investigator Cindy Dawson. She states, I had a lengthy conversation with the witnesses, and I had found her to be credible. The incident occurred in 1975 when she was 18 years old. She says that her boyfriend, who was there with her at the time of the incidents, is now deceased. She recalled driving up to the location with him on late September evening. 6:30 to 7 p.m., they went for a walk. They strolled over to a lookout point and were walking back to their car when she decided to stop and use the ladies' room. She heard deep breathing, and it exhaled within 20 feet of the facility. She assumed it was a bear, so she started to back up slowly, as if there was a bear in the brush. She could then see an upright animal standing next to the washroom. Her boyfriend was parked no more than 30 feet away. He saw the animal and said to her, "Get into the car now!" When she looked back at the animal, it was a few feet away from her, down on all fours and sniffing the air behind her. It was crawling in an awkward position with its rear end up in the air, like kids do when crawling on their hands, and straight-legged. Due to how close the witness was to the subject, she was able to report a lot of detail. Its hair was a copper blonde color. It had more hair on its limbs than on its body, and less on its ape-like face than its head. She described the hair to be coarse, like that of a horse mane. Once she got in the car, the animal stood up on two legs, started a loud screeching sound, and went into an angry fit as the vehicle drove away. We've done a few videos and several blog articles of Bigfoot sightings, some with video footage of Sasquatch in Alberta, Canada, like the Jasper Bigfoot captured on video by a pulled over motorist, and a family pulling a camp trailer that spotted a pack of wolves being pursued by an aggressive Sasquatch. I would like to go over a couple of more reports and sightings that happened in the 70s. I saw a Bigfoot photo that was featured on Mountain Beast Mysteries YouTube channel, episode 51. It sparked my interest, and so I searched for nearby Sasquatch reports around the same time frame and found two reports. One from the RMSO database, the other from the BFRO Bigfoot report collection. Both were less than 200 miles from the purported Bigfoot photo. I would like to go over the photo and two other reports from the mid to early 70s in the Alberta province. Men describe angry muscular Sasquatch yelling at another Bigfoot in Alberta forest. Oliver writes RMSO, "Hi, the story I'm about to tell you happened before I was born. My father, uncle, and grandpa told me the story. All of them talked to me about this story the same way with the same details. To me, it's basically impossible that they just made up this story, and I know them well. They're not liars. It was witnessed by my father, who was 17 years old, my uncle was 21, and my grandpa was 35 years old at the time. They lived on a farm that was owned by my grandpa in Alberta, Canada. It was the morning of September 1972. The three of them were playing football in an open area on the farm when my uncle threw the ball over the fence by accident, and it landed in some dense bushes next to an equally dense forest. My uncle was going towards the fence to get the ball back and noticed the bushes moving. They'd said that some weird naked furry child came out of the bush, jumped the fence, and had the football in its hands. It was a boy with orangish-colored fur all over its body, like some kind of an ape, and its height was about 1.5 meters, very short. It had massive muscle mass like an adult athlete. Then the boy threw the ball at my uncle's hands and just stood there looking at them. The three of my relatives told me that they didn't know what was going on. They were witnessing something that was not supposed to happen. Then they saw movement behind the boy, and a giant, massively muscular man that was furry and orangish colored also, just like the boy, came out of the trees. It then grabbed the boy in its hands like a doll and started to yell things in an unknown language to his face with a very angry expression. They said he just ran away with the boy in his hands and didn't even look at them, not even once. It's like it was trying to avoid them at all costs. The three of them said that the same height estimate of the giant man was around 3.7 to 4 meters high. It was a giant. They said his steps lightly vibrated the ground, so they estimated its weight over 500 kilograms. That is the story. As I said before, the three of them tell the story the same way, with the same details, so I believe them. I believe they saw a baby Sasquatch and his father. RMSO responds, "We just put out a blog article of some people that saw a Bigfoot watching them play soccer. Also have had reports of people spotting Bigfoot watching them play outdoor basketball, and another report of a Bigfoot watching them play baseball. Sounds like sports and outdoor games can spike their curiosity, and they come in for a closer look." Oliver continues, "Well, that's interesting. My take on that story is that the baby Bigfoot got too close, and the giant father came in and scolded him for doing that. It kind of makes me think that their parenting method is kind of similar to humans when it comes to discipline.